everyone, my name is Alexis. Welcome to Slow Flow. I miss seeing everybody at the studio. Today's class is meant to be a really nurturing, feel-good flow for our bodies after being stuck inside for so long. Today it'd be helpful to have a bottle of water, a blanket, and a block. If you don't have that, that's okay. You'll be okay. So we'll start in a Savasana position on our backs. So making our way onto our mats, flipping the palms up to face the ceiling. We might scoot the shoulder blades closer together under the back, flipping the palms up to face the ceiling, walking the heels a little bit closer to the bottom edge of the mat to release some pressure in the hips. Before making any changes anywhere in our body, just taking a moment to observe how we're feeling today. Noticing any areas in the body that might be feeling tense, or just some sensations arising as we lay here. Maybe noticing what areas of the body are hovering slightly off the mat. Maybe our low back is an inch or two off of the mat. Noticing if we're arching the back of our neck, we might choose to gently tuck the chin, lift the head, and then roll the head back down onto the mat, first by the hairline. Just really lengthen the neck. Starting to relax the body here, releasing any tension in the muscles of the face, creases in the eyebrows, in the forehead. Noticing our eyes closed. If they are they gently closed, or are we squeezing them shut? We might circle the jaw or separate the teeth just slightly. We might choose to walk the hands a few inches further away from the hips, off of the mat, just to really give the heart space to open, the shoulders room to fall closer to the mat. Relaxing through the hips, the backs of the knees. Now starting to pay more attention to our breath. Noticing its pace, its rhythm, and its depth. On our next inhale, drawing that breath deeper into the lungs, so much so that our belly rises. And on the exhale, we squeeze that belly button back down towards the mat, towards the spine, really emptying the lungs completely of all of that air. Each inhale is a little bit deeper than the previous, and each exhale is a little bit longer. We'll start taking a 4-7-8 breath. So to start on our next inhale, taking that inhale for a count of 4. Holding at the top of that inhale for a count of 7. And exhaling for a count of 8. And then we'll start again, 4 count inhale, 7 count hold at the top, and 8 count exhale. So taking 2 more of those on your own. And once you've finished that second round, we'll take that 4-count inhale, but we'll take out the 7-count hold. So it'll be a 4-count inhale straight into our 8-count exhale. So here we've doubled the length of our exhale from our inhale. So our breath is super important here in our yoga practice. So making sure that we have that breath throughout the whole practice today. It might not be 4 and 8 the whole time, and that's okay. But just knowing that if we're ever short of breath or we can't breathe, we always have the freedom to come back down into any rest pose. We can pause the video and come back to the breath and then press play whenever we're ready to start again, because this is your practice. So just starting to wiggle the fingers and toes, bringing a little bit of movement into the body. Really gently, we'll plant the soles of the feet on the mat, a little bit wider than hips distance apart with the knees pointed up towards the ceiling. On our exhale, we'll gently lower the knees down to the right, keeping the feet about where they are. So we might just rock onto the edges of the feet, but they pretty much stay in the same position. Inhale up through center, bring the knees up through center. Exhale to gently lower the knees down towards the left. Inhale up through center. Exhale, lowering off to the right. Inhale the knees up through center. Exhale to lower them off to the left. Inhale the knees up through center. Exhale, lower them to the right, and we're going to pause here for 2 or 3 rounds of breath. So just holding here. If you'd like to gaze over your left shoulder as well for a little bit more of a spinal twist, we have that option. We could also place the outside of the right ankle onto the outside of the left knee to get a little bit deeper of a stretch in that low back. Also in the left quad, the left hip flexor. So if that does not feel good, we can just stay in our twist. We'll uncross that right ankle if it's on the left thigh, placing it back onto the mat. Inhale the knees up through center, gaze comes up through center if it was off to the side. Exhale the knees off to the left, we might gaze towards the right if we did so on the other side. Either staying here, or if we took that additional variation, we'll take that on this side as well, taking the outside of that left ankle to the outside of the right thigh. Taking a few breaths here. Uncrossing that left ankle if it was crossed over the right knee. We'll inhale the knees up through center. On our exhale, we'll draw the knees into the chest, wrapping the hands around the knees or the shins, and just gently starting to rock from side to side, just massaging the low back here. So it's your practice. If you want more of a massage on the back of the hips, so like the sacrum, then you draw the knees further away from the chest and start to rock. If you'd like more of a massage in the low back, then we draw the knees closer to the chest and rock from side to side. So your choice there, what feels best. Coming back through center, we'll bring the knees into the chest, keeping the hands on the shins. On our next, and we might interlace the fingers. On our next exhale, we want to keep the knees so that they're touching. We'll draw the knees in towards the chest as far as we can go until we meet that resistance. So as soon as we meet the resistance, we just pause and we breathe. So what we're doing here is applying pressure to our hip flexors. So we're getting that release, releasing some of that tension that we hold in our hips. So just breathing here, trying to keep the knees touching because that keeps the intensity in the pose. Maybe we draw the knees a little bit closer to the chest. If we we have the space. Inhale to gently release the knees, taking the right hand on the right knee, the left hand on the left knee, and we'll just circle the knees in opposite directions. So circling the right knee towards the right wall, the left knee towards the left wall, just warming up those hips. Good, we'll come through center and we'll switch directions this time. So just being really kind to our bodies today, warming up slowly, introducing movement. Bring the knees back through center, beginning to rock forwards and backwards until we have enough momentum to rock into a seated position. And we'll cross the legs, reaching the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. So we have a nice tall spine, shoulders, shoulder blades draw down the back. The hands are wherever is comfortable. Maybe the palms are facing up. Coming back to that breath. We'll take a deep inhale through the nose. Exhale out of the mouth. Good, taking that one more time. Deep inhale through the nose. Exhale out of the mouth. On our next inhale, we'll reach the arms up overhead. Maybe gaze follows. And on our exhale, we'll take our left hand over towards the mat. Reach our right hand up and over towards that left wall. Making sure that our right hip is rooted into the mat. So we don't want that popping up, but it's staying glued into the mat there. We want our right palm facing down and keeping that right arm, right shoulder above the right ear so that our heart stays nice and open. If we have the space, we might walk the left fingertips a little bit further out. And just breathing here. Inhale up through center. Exhale, take it off to the right side. Right fingertips come onto the mat. Left hand reaches up and over towards the right, rooting that left hip down into the mat. Left palm faces down. Maybe we walk those right fingertips out a little bit further. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, we'll take our right hand over towards our left knee. Take our left hand behind the back, so placing the fingertips by the base of the spine. And we'll inhale to lengthen the spine and exhale to twist first from the lower part of the spine, then through that shoulder, drawing the left shoulder blade towards the spine, and lastly we'll gaze over that left shoulder. So making sure that the twist originates through the spine and we're not leading with our neck. Each inhale, we grow a little bit taller. And each exhale, maybe we find a little bit more twist. Inhale the arms up through center. Exhale, we'll twist towards the right this time. So the left hand comes to the outside of that right leg. We take the right fingertips by the base of the spine. Inhale to find some length in the spine. Exhale to twist first through that lumbar and then thoracic. And lastly, we twist and gaze over that right shoulder. Inhaling to find length. Exhaling to find a little bit more depth in the twist. Inhale the arms up through center. Exhale, we'll bring the hands just anywhere into the lap. So from here, we'll lower the chin towards the chest, keeping the shoulders tall here. We're just feeling that stretch in the back of the neck, just from gravity of hanging our head forward. If you're ready for it, we might gently start to rock the head in really small semicircles, little half circles, We might rock the right ear all the way towards the right shoulder, left ear all the way towards the left shoulder. Moving as slow as you need to, maybe even pausing a certain place that feels really tight today. If you'd like to, we might start to make full circles with our neck. And if we're making those full circles, changing direction if we haven't already. And when we feel even in both directions, we'll bring that head back up through center. We'll gently lower that left ear towards the left shoulder, keeping those shoulders tall. And if this is enough, maybe we just hang out here, feeling that stretch on the right side of the neck, or we can take the left hand behind the back and just bind onto that right bicep. So that'll just get a little bit deeper of a stretch in that right side of the neck. Just breathing here. Inhale back up through center. We'll take that on the opposite side, lowering that right ear over towards the right shoulder. Just checking in here, noticing how this feels. And if we would like a little bit more intensity, we can take that right hand behind the back, binding onto that right bicep or left bicep. Just breathing here. Inhale to unwind. From here, we'll take our hands and we'll flip the fingertips to face our shins, gently lowering the palms down onto the mat. So we're getting a little stretch here in our forearms. If we'd like a little bit more intensity, then walk the palms and the fingertips further away from the shins. So just a little bit of a gentle stretch for the wrists and the forearms to start off. Really being aware of our bodies and making sure that we can breathe. And if we can't breathe, then we're probably in too much of an intense position, so we might need to draw back a little bit. Gently releasing the hands off of the floor, we'll come into a table pose. So coming onto our hands and knees. We want our wrists under our shoulders, knees are under our hips. On our inhale, we'll lift the gaze towards the wall in front of us, dropping the belly down towards the mat. The shoulder blades draw down the back. Exhale to round the back, gazing towards the tops of the thighs. Inhale to come back to our cow pose. Exhale to take our cat pose. So taking a few rounds on your own. Just, you can stick with our cat-cow so our inhales for our cat, exhales for our cow, but take this opportunity if you'd like to offer in any additional movements. So if you'd like to maybe sway the hips from side to side, maybe circle the hips, we could once again flip those fingertips to face the knees, maybe sinking the hips down towards the heels to get a deeper stretch in our forearms. Or we can continue with our cat-cows. Maybe we gaze off either shoulder, getting that side body stretch. So we'll be here for about 5 breaths, really taking whatever your body's asking for, because this is your practice here. So take whatever you'd like here. Taking 2 more full rounds of breath wherever you'd like to be. after that last exhale, we'll meet back into our neutral table pose. Once we're back in our table pose, we'll take that left hand and bind it onto the outside edge of that right thigh. From here, we'll bend into the left elbow and try to draw it towards the mat as we round through the upper back, like we're in a cat pose. So we're pulling in opposite directions, pulling our elbow down and pulling up through the center of the back. So here we're getting that separating sensation from that left shoulder blade in the spine, and we'll get that nice stretch in the upper back. So just breathing here. Releasing that bind, coming back through table pose. Maybe circling both wrists or one wrist if that feels good. We'll take that right hand and bind it onto the outside of the left thigh. Bending that right elbow down towards the mat, rounding through the upper back like we're coming to a cat pose, and continuing to pull in opposite directions. So we're separating that right shoulder blade from the spine. And breathing here. Coming back through our table pose, we'll walk the hands about a foot in front of our shoulders, curling the toes under. We'll lift the hips up and back, down dog. So our first down dog, we might bend into either knee, coming up onto the toes, feeling that stretch alternating on the backs of the legs, rotating the shoulders away from each other, away from the ears, lifting the hips up and back, melting the chest towards the tops of the thighs. We might lift up onto all of the toes, and then bend into the knees, getting that nice stretch in the bottoms of the feet and in the toes. Trying to melt the heels down towards the mat. On our inhale, we'll lift up onto all the toes. Exhale, bending into the knees, gaze between the hands. We'll walk, step, or hop the feet up between the hands, forward fold. Hanging out here for a moment in ragdoll pose. So really relaxing through the whole upper body here. Letting the head hang heavy. We might bind opposite hand to opposite elbow, maybe gently swaying from side to side, really whatever feels good for you. We might feel this all the way into the back body, in the hamstrings. Feeling that decompression in the cervical vertebrae of the neck. Maybe shifting our weight more so into our heels. Gazing through the shins. Really trying not to use any muscles in the neck here. Gently releasing any binds if we have them. On our inhale, we'll bend through the knees, reaching the arms up overhead. Gaze follows our fingertips. Exhale the hands to heart center. Slight bend in our knees. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, leading with the heart, forward fold. Inhale to lift up halfway, bringing the hands to the thighs, drawing the shoulder blades towards each other, creating that 90-degree angle between our torso and our thighs. Exhale to forward fold. We'll plant the hands, step the feet back, top of a push-up. So holding this here, engaging that core, squeezing the belly button towards the spine, pressing through the hands so the shoulder blades draw away from each other. So there's that difference between this and pressing through so that our shoulder blades draw away from each other. Heels are strong towards the back edge of the mat, lifting through the front of the thighs. Taking one more inhale here. And on our exhale, taking whatever you'd like to get back into your down dog. So we have a few options here. We could shift onto our toes and take a chaturanga, which is like a half push-up. Inhale for our upward facing dog and exhale for our down dog. So we could take that, or we have the option to lower all the way down. Take a baby cobra, and then meeting our down dog. So we have lots of different options there. Taking a few breaths here. Melting the heels down into the mat. Maybe we're bending into either knee again. Inhale to lift up onto the toes. Exhale, bending to the knees, gaze between the hands, half step or walk the feet up between the hands, forward fold. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale the hands to heart center. Inhale the arms up overhead. This time on our exhale, we'll take our left wrist into our right hand and bend over towards the right wall. You can gaze up at that left hand or down at the right, just whatever feels best for you. Inhale up through center. Exhale, we'll switch that bind. So binding that left hand onto the right wrist, bending towards the left wall, making sure we have a slight bend in the knees and the weight is evenly distributed between both feet. Inhale up through center, releasing the bind. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale to lift up halfway. Exhale to forward fold. Plant the hands, step the feet back, top of a push-up. Finding our engagement, once again, lifting through the backs of the knees. The heels are strong towards the back wall. If you'd like to, we could start to rock forwards and backwards. So this is a little bit additional engagement for our core, but it's also good for the ankles and also the toes. Just warming up the ankles and toes. Taking one more inhale here. Exhale, taking whatever you'd like to get back into your downward facing dog. So that could be chaturanga up dog, or that could be your baby cobra. Taking 3 breaths here. Inhale to lift to the toes. Exhale, bending into the knees, gaze between the hands, half step, or walk the feet up between the hands, forward fold. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale the hands to heart center. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, leading with the heart, forward fold. Inhale to lift up halfway. Exhale to forward fold. Plant the hands, step the feet back, top of a push-up. Taking 3 full breaths here. So this is on your count. Take 3 of your breaths, trying to make them deep and slow, and then meeting in your down dog. Good, coming back to our breath, trying to deepen our inhales, lengthen our exhales. We'll take our left hand, maybe reaching back for our right calf, our right ankle. So just getting that twist there in the spine. Also, it's a pretty intense stretch for the back of the right leg. So we're gazing under that right armpit. Coming back through center, planting that left hand on the mat. We'll take our right hand, reaching it towards that right calf or left calf, maybe that left ankle. And if this isn't accessible, we're just hanging out in our down dog. Good, coming back to our down dog. So now that our bodies are nice and warm, we'll be starting to build a flow. On our inhale, we'll reach that right leg up for 3-legged down dog. Melting the left heel down towards the mat, flexing the right toes so they're pointed down. Exhale, we'll open the hips. So bringing that right heel over towards the left shoulder. Really trying to open the hip here, getting that stretch in the right hip flexor. Inhale to straighten that leg, 3-legged down dog. Exhale to step that right foot up between the hands. We'll lower the left knee down onto the mat, untuck those left toes, and inhale the arms up overhead, low lunge. So we're just breathing here, shifting the hips forwards. We want our hips in front of the left knee. We're bending really deeply into that right knee to get that nice stretch in the left hip flexor here. On our exhale, we'll lower the hands down onto the inside of that right foot. So we might heel toe the right foot out to the side slightly, maybe walking that left knee back a little bit. And if this is tough on our left knee, if that hurts a little bit, we could place the blanket under our knee, or a mat or a pad or something like that. We'll lower down onto our forearms for lizard pose. A variation of lizard pose would be to curl the left toes under and lift that left knee off of the mat. So if you'd like to, you can try that, see if you like it. Or we can keep that left knee on the mat, totally up to you. Pressing back into the hands. We'll reach that right hand back towards the left foot. So maybe we stay here today and we just reach in this direction if this is really intense. If we have the space, we might kick that left foot up into the right hand. So taking like a lizard twist variation. Drawing that right shoulder blade towards the spine, gazing off that left shoulder, pressing through that left hand. Getting that great stretch for the quad, and it's also a really deep stretch for that left hip flexor, which is probably really tight if we're doing a lot of sitting at home recently. Exhale, we'll gently release that bind if we have it. We'll plant the hands on either side of that right foot. So we might have to heel toe that right foot back into the center of the mat. We'll curl those left toes under. Inhale the arms up overhead. And then when we're ready, we'll engage the core, engage the legs to lift that left knee up and off the mat for crescent warrior. So we want our hips squared towards the wall in front of us. A nice deep bend in our right knee. And we're on the left tippy toes, so that left heel is really tall towards the ceiling. Good. On our exhale, we'll pivot and plant those left toes. So the left heel is planted, the left toes are pointed towards the left, and the arms come out to a T for warrior two. Squeezing the shoulder blades towards each other to open the heart, gazing off that right hand. Making sure the right knee is pointed in the same direction as our right toes. Sometimes it has a tendency to knock over to the left, so making sure that alignment is there. The hips are nice and open towards that wall. And imagining that we have a super big beach ball between our legs and we want to squeeze that beach ball. So we're isometrically drawing the heels towards each other. So really turning on our inner thighs there. We'll bring the hands behind the back, interlacing the fingers. Inhale to open the heart, drawing the bind down towards the mat. Exhale to forward fold into the inside of that right knee. So humble warrior. Maybe pressing that right shoulder into the right knee. And we'll take sort of a puppy dog variation of this pose. So we'll release the bind and reach the hands towards that front left corner of the mat. So our arms are almost like they're in a puppy dog pose, but we're getting a super deep stretch in that right hamstring here. Good. From here, we'll plant the right hand onto the inside of that right foot, and we'll reach the left hand up towards the ceiling for side angle. So here's where if we have a block, we could place it under our right hand for a little bit extra support. We're trying to draw that left shoulder blade towards the spine to open the heart. From here, if we'd like to try that bind, a really heart-opening bind, we would take that right hand under the front of the right thigh, so kind of reaching it back between the legs, reaching that left hand behind the back, and reaching that right hand up towards the left. So finding that bind if we can. Gently releasing that bind. We'll plant the hands on either side of that right foot, coming onto the ball of our left foot. And we'll step that right foot back to meet the left top of a push-up, taking 2 full breaths here, and then we'll make our way back into our down dog. So taking 3 full breaths here, trying to deepen our inhales, lengthen our exhales. Good. On our next inhale, we'll reach that left leg up towards the ceiling, 3-legged down dog, flexing those left toes, melting the right heel down towards the mat. Exhale, we'll bring that left heel over towards the right shoulder, opening through the hip. Inhale for 3-legged down dog. Exhale, we'll step that left foot up between the hands, lowering down onto the right knee, untucking the right toes. Inhale the arms up overhead, low lunge. So once again, we're shifting our hips forward, so they're in front of that right knee. Bending deeply into that left knee. Exhale to lower the hands down to the inside of that left foot. So we might heel toe that left foot out to the side just slightly. And here we can lower down onto our forearms, or if we have a block, we could place the block and lower the forearms down onto that block for lizard pose. If we took it on the opposite side, making that variation where you curl the right toes under and lift that right knee off of the mat. Lowering that right knee down onto the mat if it was lifted. We'll plant the hands back onto the mat, and this time we'll reach our left hand back towards that right leg. So we might stay here today. If we have the space, we'll bend into that right knee and kick that right foot up into our left hand. Getting that deep stretch in the right quad, right hip flexor, gazing towards that left shoulder. Gently releasing that bind if we have it. We'll plant the hands around either side of that left foot, so heel toe the left foot into the center of the mat. We'll curl those right toes under. Inhale the arms up overhead, and when we're ready, engaging the core, engaging the legs, we'll lift that right knee off of the mat for crescent warrior. Hips are squared towards that front wall, bending deeply into our left knee, lifting through that right heel tall towards the ceiling. Exhale for our warrior two. We'll pivot and plant those right toes. They're pointed towards that right wall. Arms come out to a T. Making sure that left knee is pointed straight ahead. Opening those hips. Drawing shoulder blades towards each other. Exhale the hands behind the back and releasing the fingers. Inhale to draw that bind down towards the mat, opening through the heart. Exhale to forward fold to the inside of that left thigh. Pressing that left shoulder into the left knee if we can, to make sure the left knee is still pointed straight ahead. Humble warrior. We'll take that variation, the puppy dog variation, where we release the bind and reach the hands towards the front right corner of our mat. So we're getting that nice deep stretch in the left hamstring. So really melting the chest towards the mat. Good. From here, we'll plant that left hand onto the inside of the left foot. Inhale the right hand up towards the ceiling, side angle. Drawing right shoulder blade towards the spine. And if we tried that bind on the other side, we'll try it here too. Reaching that left hand under the front of the left thigh. We'll reach that right hand around the back and reaching that left hand up towards the right for that bind. Good. We'll release that bind, planting the hands on either side of that left foot, coming onto the ball of our right foot. We'll step that left foot back to meet the right top of a push-up, taking 2 full breaths here, and then meeting in your down dog. Good. We might lower down onto the knees, drawing the toes together, sinking the hips back, maybe resting our forehead on the mat for child's pose, just trying to slow that breath. Taking 2 more full rounds of breath, and then we'll meet back in our down dog. So we'll be taking 1 more round through the flow on either side. This time we'll be changing it up though, and adding some more poses on. Good, making our way to that down dog if we're not there already. On our inhale, we'll reach that right leg up, 3-legged down dog. On our exhale, we'll crunch that right knee towards the right tricep, really lifting it as high as we can get it. Inhale to extend. Exhale to crunch that right knee towards our right tricep, or left tricep this time. Inhale to extend. Exhale to step that right foot up between the hands. We'll pivot and plant those left toes and bring that right hand onto the inside of that right foot and inhale the left hand up. So we're in our side angle here. Good. If we'd like to, we can take that bind once again, reaching that right hand under the front of the right thigh, left hand around the back. Gently releasing that bind, planting that right hand on the mat, reaching the left hand up towards the ceiling. We'll straighten that right leg for triangle pose. So we can place our right hand on a block here or on our right shin, whatever's accessible. If we have the space, we'll turn that palm of the left hand towards the wall in front of us and reach that left hand towards that front wall. So get that deep side body stretch. Good. Inhale that left arm back up through center, engaging the core and the obliques as we lift into a standing T pose. From here, we're going to we might need to heel toe the feet in closer towards each other, bringing the toes out at a 45-degree angle, bringing the arms to goalposts, and our exhale will sit the bottom back for a goddess squat. So we want our knees pointed in the same direction as our toes. So if they're knocking in, that might mean we need to walk our feet in a little bit more. Bringing the hands to the insides of the thighs, we'll start to rock that left shoulder in as we gaze off towards our right shoulder. So we're getting a nice gentle stretch in the low back. Inhale up through center. Exhale, we'll rock over towards that left side, bringing the right shoulder in. Inhale up through center. Exhale, take that towards the right. Inhale up through center. Exhale off towards the left. Inhale up through center. Exhale to straighten the legs, forward fold. So we're in a wide-legged forward fold. Reaching the hands towards the center of the legs, maybe towards the back of the mat, drawing the chest closer towards the legs. We'll inhale up halfway. Exhale to pivot the feet towards the front of the mat, coming into a runner's lunge. We'll step that right foot back to meet the left, top of a push-up, taking your inhale here, and then exhale to make your way back into a down dog. So only one more side here. Taking 2 full breaths just to prepare. One more side. We'll inhale to lift that left leg. Exhale to crunch the left knee towards left tricep. Inhale to extend. Exhale, left knee towards right tricep. Inhale to extend. Exhale to step that left foot up between the hands. We'll pivot and plant those right toes. Left hand comes to the inside of that left foot. Inhale the right hand up, side angle. Taking that bind if we took that on the opposite side. Inhale to release the bind if we have it. We'll straighten that left leg. We can place that left hand on the left shin, on a block, on the mat that's accessible for triangle pose. Flipping that right palm to face the front wall. If we have the space, we'll reach that right hand towards the front wall to get that side body stretch. Inhale that right hand back up. We'll engage the obliques here as we lift into our strong T pose. From here, we'll bring those toes in so that they're both pointed at a 45-degree angle out. Bring the arms out to goal post and send that bottom down into a goddess squat. Squeezing the inner thighs towards the outer thighs. Knees are pointed in the same direction as the toes. Good, we'll bring the hands onto the insides of the thighs. Here we'll roll that right shoulder down, gazing over our left shoulder, getting that stretch in the low back. Inhale up through center. Exhale to roll that left shoulder down, gazing over our right. Inhale up through center. Exhale towards the left. Inhale up through center. Exhale, rolling that left shoulder in. Inhale up through center. Exhale to forward fold for wide-legged forward fold. Hanging out here for a moment, feeling that nice stretch in the back of the hamstrings. Maybe binding the hands onto the ankles to draw the chest closer. We'll take our right hand and bind it onto whatever's accessible. Could be our left shin, could be our left ankle. Reach that left hand up towards the ceiling. Still trying to melt the chest towards that left leg. Exhale to lower that left hand down. We'll switch sides, reaching that left hand towards our right shin, our right ankle, and we start right hand up towards the ceiling. Exhale, lowering that right hand down. We'll pivot onto the ball of that right foot, coming into our runner's lunge. We'll step that, plant the hands, and step that left foot back to meet the right, top of a push-up. So this is our last plank for the class. Maybe holding it for 3 breaths, maybe for 4 if you're feeling ambitious. And whenever you're ready, so you set that goal for yourself. And whenever you're ready, we'll meet in a child's pose. So make your way through a down dog and then to a child's pose. So once we've made it to our down dog, we'll lower the knees, bringing the toes together, sitting the hips back for our child's pose. Really coming back to that breath here. So you might have picked up its pace during that flow, might have gotten shorter. So really trying to deepen our inhales and lengthen our exhales while we're here. Melting the hips towards the heels. Coming back onto our hands and knees, we'll grab for that blanket. If we don't have our blanket, that's okay. We're coming to a frog pose, which is really great for our hips, especially if we're sitting all the time, or a lot of the time. We'll just spread it wide over our mat. It's really just there to protect the insides of our knees against the hard floor. So we'll bring our knees and spread them out wide. We want our toes pointed outwards, and we want our shins to be parallel to each other. And the key is to keep the hips in line with the knees. So we'll start to lower down, so just widening our knees as to whatever is comfortable. We'll lower down onto our forearms, and we want to press the hips back towards the heels as we lower the chest down towards the mat. So we'll feel a pretty intense stretch here in the hips. So really just resting here and just breathing. Trying to keep pressing the hips back towards the heels. Gently pressing into the hands and really gently sliding the knees in closer to each other, maybe bringing the toes together, making our way really carefully out of this pose. We'll slide that blanket off to the side, swinging the legs around in front of us, extending the heels towards the front edge of our mat. On our inhale, we'll reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, we'll take a really passive forward fold. So the main focus here is our back body. We really want to release through our whole back. So maybe just sliding our hands under our knees, under our shins, whatever is accessible, and just relaxing through the back of the neck and the whole back. So that chin reaches towards our chest. Relaxing here, we'll feel that stretch from our neck, maybe even down through our hips and our hamstrings. So we're not really pulling ourselves down to feel that stretch in our hamstrings. We're really just letting gravity take over here. Inhale to gently restack the spine. Then we'll make our way all the way down onto our backs. Drawing the knees into the chest, rocking gently from side to side. If that feels good. Bringing the arms out to a T or out to goalpost. We'll gently lower the knees down to the right, gazing towards the left, rooting that left shoulder blade down into the mat. If we'd like a little bit deeper of a stretch, we might place our right hand to the outside edge of that left thigh, just adding a little bit extra weight into the twist. Inhale the knees back up through center. Exhale to gently lower the knees down to the left, gazing towards the right, rooting that right shoulder blade down into the mat. We might place our left hand onto the outside edge of our right thigh. Inhale the knees up through center. Exhale to extend the heels to the bottom corners of the mat. The hands can come to rest wherever is comfortable next to the body. Once again, we might scoot the shoulder blades closer together under the mat. We might walk the heels a little bit further down to the bottom corners of the mat. Taking a deep inhale through the nose. Exhale out of the mouth. Really releasing all of that tension and taking a well-deserved savasana after that great flow. Gently beginning to deepen the breath if it's become shallow. Gently brushing the thumb across the fingertips. Starting to wiggle the fingers and toes. Circling the wrists and ankles in both directions. Maybe gently rocking the head from side to side. Bringing the legs together, bringing the arms together, reaching the hands towards the back wall, reaching the toes towards the front, taking a deep inhale through the nose, full body stretch. Exhale out of the mouth, melting back into the mat. Drawing the knees into the chest. Rocking off onto your right side for fetal pose. Maybe using that right arm as a pillow. Slowly making your way into a seated position, crossing the legs, maybe keeping the eyes closed. And just taking a moment here, just a moment of gratitude. So just thanking yourself for getting out the mat today, practicing some yoga, and making some time for yourself. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. The light within me honors and bows, light within each and every one of you. Namaste. Thank you, everyone, for joining, for supporting Explore Yoga. It was really great to practice with you today, to share my practice with you, your practice with me, and I hope to see you soon.